According to the World Health Organization, 280 million people worldwide are depressed. That is a huge number of people. I am not a psychologist or counselor, so I won't go into the clinical aspects of depression. I am not qualified to do so. But I'm going to cover what depression is from a spiritual perspective, what happens to your chakras when you are depressed, and how the Vile Flame can help with depression. Many of us know what depression is. You may know someone who is depressed. You may be dealing with depression yourself right now, or may have experienced depression at some point in the past. It is present everywhere, but most people don't speak about it. Let's take a look at the spiritual perspective on depression and what you can do spiritually to restore a sense of optimism and well-being. I believe that we all know to a certain extent what depression is, in the usual sense of the word. But most of us have not heard the spiritual explanation of what takes place when people get depressed, so let's take a look at that. The Ascended Master El Morya has defined depression as follows. Depression is a few steps removed from death. It is a negative spiral. It sets the entire body up for negativity. And that negativity results in a disintegration spiral when the soul no longer has the will to live, to fight, to rejoice, and to defeat every enemy of the light within her being. You may have heard of the upward spiral of the ascension. The ascension is our ultimate goal, our reunion with our mighty I Am Presence, also called our divine self, which sets us free from the rounds of karma and rebirth. El Morya said that depression is a negative spiral. This means the spiral is not going up, but down. It brings you closer to non-being and ultimately to death. This is the opposite of ascending towards heaven. Elizabeth Clare Prophet, messenger of the Ascended Masters from 1961 to her retirement in 1999, explained that at the spiritual level of our being, depression is actually a depression of the chakras. Normally they are filled with light, but when we become depressed, our chakras become concave or hollow. She said they collapse by the pressure of the mass consciousness and the astral plane. The mass consciousness is the collective consciousness and subconscious of all mankind. It's like a kind of huge field of consciousness, both above and below the surface of awareness that we all live in, like it or not. The astral plane is one of the 4 energy fields of the earth. There's the etheric plane, which is the purest, highest vibrating energy field of this planet. This is where the Ascended Masters and the angels reside. Below that level in vibration is the mental plane, where thinking and idea formation take place. Below that is the astral plane, which is the realm of our dreams, emotions, and desires, both good and not so good. You can imagine that this is a pretty polluted place. And the lowest vibrating plane is the physical plane, where we find all of the material things that surround us, as well as our own physical bodies. So Mrs. Prophet said that our chakras can collapse under the unwholesome pressures of the astral plane and the mass consciousness. She went on to explain that this can cause 2 issues, spiritually speaking. First, your chakras lose energy and spin weakly, which makes your brain fuzzy and confused. Second, the energy of your heart chakra becomes misqualified, which can express itself through irritation or anger. This causes you to lose your attunement with your higher self and begin to drift away from God and your own divine self. We may not be consciously aware that this is happening, but our soul knows it and becomes depressed under the weight of this alienation from our divine source. So what can we do to counteract depression and find relief from it? First of all, if you experience chronic depression, there is no way around getting therapy. You need professional help. Find an expert you can trust and who can help you with the psychological aspects of depression. Please don't ignore this point. If you need help, make sure you get it. Also, a good and balanced diet will help you, since feelings of depression can set in when we don't eat well and take in dense substances that weigh down our spirit and our soul. Spiritually speaking, the Ascended Masters say that you need a thrust of positive energy through your chakras to force out the depressing energies. They say that it takes a strong effort to do this, but it can be accomplished by intense fiats and calls to the Masters. A fiat is a short authoritative command that uses the name of God. For example, Archangel Michael, in the name I am that I am, take command of this energy of depression. Here's a great example of another fiat you can use to tackle depression. "Oh God, you are so magnificent." As simple as this fiat is, it's very powerful. What you're doing when you say this out loud a number of times is affirming the beauty and power of the reality of God in your life. This immediately changes your energy field and gives it a positive spin and pulls you up to a better place in consciousness. Try it and you'll see what I mean. You can also give simple fiats that confirm your own divine reality, such as, "I am a child of the light," or "In the name of my real self, I am unmoved by anything that tries to depress my energy." Another thing you can do is make a call. A call is like a prayer, a spoken request to heaven when you ask for help. It is usually also quite short. A call could be something like this. "Archangel Michael, in the name of Almighty I Am Presence and Holy Christ Self, I ask you to protect my force field from depressing energies and help me stay above the negativity that is trying to pull me off center. Cut me free and realign me with the light of my being." And now we come to the most important part of this video. How can the violet flame help you with depression? When the violet flame passes through your body, your atoms and electrons accelerate. Since the violet flame clears away astral substance that is lodged in your body at the atomic level, they can spin faster and contain more light. This also means that your chakras accelerate. Because everything is quickened, so to say, or made more alive, many violet flame users feel very happy and light-hearted after invoking the violet flame. It gives you the opposite feeling of a depression. It pulls you up, closer to God. From my own experience, I can tell you that it is not easy to bring yourself to do anything when you are feeling depressed. To give 15 minutes of violet flame decrease seems to be a small thing for someone who is feeling good. But when you don't even have energy or motivation to get out of bed or to eat, it seems almost impossible to get yourself to do anything else. So what to do? If all you can get yourself to do is whisper a prayer, that's what you do. Just pray to the Ascended Masters such as Beloved Saint Germain. "I am stuck in a depressing place in my consciousness where I don't want to stay. Please help me get out of this situation." Ask God for help. Ask the angels for help. If it is your sincere desire to get out of the doldrums, God will help you. And then after you have prayed for help, give a violet flame mantra such as, "I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires." As the violet flame enters your being, the change process will be set in motion. So whatever violet flame decree or mantra you choose to work with, it will help in some way to get you going again. Just remember that it is important to give the decree or mantra aloud, so you can experience the physical effects of it and get your atoms and cells and chakras going again. I think this part was pretty easy to understand. Now, what can you visualize when invoking the violet flame to deal with depression? It really depends on why you feel depressed. There are different motives and reasons. Let's say you have no clue what's going on. You just feel bad and don't want to do anything. In this case, you just imagine yourself standing in the violet flame. Just feel the violet flame moving through your body and pulling you up mentally and physically. Let's assume you're depressed because you lost your job. Have been applying for other jobs, but nothing is happening. You don't know how to pay your rent. You don't know what the future will bring. Man, you don't even know how to pay for food tomorrow. In this case, create a mental picture of having everything you need. Your dream job, enough money, enough food, enough of everything. Visualize and feel yourself being happy and fulfilled. Whatever good things you can visualize and feel intensely in your emotional body will materialize at some point. Another hypothetical scenario. Your girlfriend broke up with you. The two of you wanted to get married. You wanted children. She was the one. And now everything is over. You really feel like there's absolutely no more reason on this earth to live for. I totally understand this kind of thinking and feeling. A breakup can be one of the most devastating life changes and very difficult to come to grips with. So what can you do spiritually? Well, initially you could just visualize yourself in the violet flame. When you feel a bit better, you can begin to think about what it is you want from life after this big change. Imagine yourself in happy situations, whatever these may be. It could be being with your family, walking in nature, or playing with your little nieces. It doesn't matter. You want to train your brain with the help of the violet flame to produce endorphins and feel good again. Find the little things in life that make it worth living. Eventually, once you're ready for a relationship again, visualize yourself with a new partner. Imagine what he or she is like, what he or she looks like, etc., which can act as a magnet to draw the right person to you. Another reason people get depressed could be the world situation we are in right now, COVID. COVID is everywhere, with all the restrictions this has imposed upon us. One would think that by now it would be all over, and in some places there's hopeful change. But in other places it still seems to be getting worse. Wherever you look, you may see bad stuff happening. Families breaking apart because they disagree on getting the vaccine or not. Whole nations getting divided because of this. People are being forced against their will to do things they do not want to do. People get bullied and belittled because they make different decisions than the majority. Fanaticism increases, intolerance, anger, frustration, physical abuse and rebellion. In the midst of all of this, there you are, wondering where God is, what is happening in this world. You don't understand, you just want peace. Can all of this not stop? You may feel badly depressed, helpless perhaps, and you may feel fearful about the future. What will all of this lead to? The first step in this situation, and it has nothing to do with the violet flame, is that you need to get yourself out of that relentless steamroller of depressing news. You may have to stop watching the news and reading the newspapers for a while. I'm not saying we should be oblivious to what's happening in the world, but if we become depressed from everything that's going on, it's good to take a break from it. We need to focus back on ourselves and our own well-being. Once you start using the violet flame, you can imagine the world you would wish to see around you. Imagine people laughing together, loving, hugging, being one. Imagine God being in the midst of all of us and within all of us. Imagine what the perfect world would be like. Imagine whatever makes you happy and fulfilled. Visualize the opposite of what you're seeing right now. When you do this for a certain amount of time with a pure desire, you will attract these things into your life. Distract yourself from the negativity that's happening around you and focus on something positive. You may want to find a new hobby, which could include helping other people. This way you feel empowered and back in control. And that's the important point here. Your life is your own, but because of all the negative things that are happening around you, in the mass consciousness, you begin to feel like things are out of your control, but they are not. You are always in control of your own energy field and consciousness if you make the effort. You can always do something. There's always a solution. What if someone in your family is suffering from depression? Of course, if they are badly or chronically depressed, make sure they get professional help. But how else can you help them? You do the spiritual job for them. Imagine them surrounded by violet flame and flooded with those most uplifting energies out of their dark cave. This will help them begin to pull themselves out of it. The violet flame can help you best when you use it regularly and intensely. Use it as often as you can. Ask God for help every day. The violet flame was called the drug of the century by Elohim, Arcturus, and Victoria, two very important beings of light. Why would they call it a drug in the sense of a medicine? The Ascended Master El Morya said the following. As you begin to use the violet flame, you will experience feelings of joy, lightness, hope, and newness of life, as though clouds of depression were being dissolved by the very sun of your own being, and the oppression of the very dark, dank energies of human bondage literally melts in the fervent heat of freedom's violet fires. Well, that sounds like powerful medicine, and the violet flame really acts like that. It just makes you happy, but without any side effects. So if you aren't working with the violet flame yet, start using it today. Get professional help if you need it and supplement it with applying the violet flame to feelings of depression and hopelessness. Do this every day for as long as necessary and you will see the wonderful results of this spiritual super weapon. If you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment below this video. This helps me enormously to reach more light bearers like you. If you want to learn more about the violet flame, check out my video, The Violet Flame, a Spiritual Super Weapon, which is linked below this video and popping up right now in the upper right corner of your screen. Thanks for watching and have a great Violet Flame day.